You need to pivot, you need to learn new things, you need to be flexible, and you need to take up challenge. And I think that's what has really helped me because, yeah, many times I didn't know, but I went with the flow. I learned, I participated, I did my research, I asked questions, and then did my homework. And yeah, it's always been trying a new opportunity and then enhancing my skills on the back end.
The biggest, I think, hurdle I had to get over was that imposter syndrome that you're talking about.
It's only you who's limiting yourself. There's nobody else. You can achieve and do anything you want as long as you build that faith, have the steps defined, and keep working through it.
Is there a specific target audience you have for your nonprofit?
We definitely help mentor women a lot. We only are about 20 to 22% in IT and technology and pretty much in cybersecurity, but our training programs are open to all. We also work with senior citizens. We do fraud protection, scam education, training programs for seniors.
So you're also a cyber mom, or tech mom, and I believe you have one kid who's in college or about to go to college. What are you telling them to focus on?
But the key things I always tell them is have a mentor, go to a conference. But I think these kids are a bit hesitant, I believe, in approaching, and I think that is very important to go out, learn, listen, communicate, network.
Welcome back to another episode of the South Asian Impact Project. I'm your host, Vidhi Bhansali. And today I'm sitting down with Jasmeet Kaur, who's the founder of nonprofit Code Her Rising. Jasmeet has a very interesting career track. She moved from embryonic stem cell research to IT and then finally cybersecurity. Not following a master plan, but just chasing good opportunities, challenges, and good people. And now as the founder of Code Her Rising, she teaches women cybersecurity skills while addressing the real barrier, the self-doubt and the social conditioning that tells women that they don't belong in tech. In this episode, she quickly debunks the myth that you need a technical degree or a technical background to be successful in cyber. Jasmeet also teaches at the Montgomery Community College. She teaches cybersecurity to seniors and leads the DC chapter of the American Society of Engineers of Indian Origin, in addition to being a full-time cybersecurity professional herself. In this episode, we talk about her story because she takes her hard-won expertise and turns it into something that helps others. She talks honestly about the specific obstacles that women face in re-entering the workforce. And she does it because she remembers what it was like to have a mentor. This was a fascinating conversation. I hope you stay with us. But first, a quick word from our sponsors. Every kitchen has a sink, but not every sink makes the kitchen. The Sink Boutique carries premium fixtures from authorized brands, with someone real to help you get it right before anything ships. Use code SAI10 for 10% off your first order at thesinkboutique.com. Thoughtfully curated, beautifully delivered. From global teams to local customers, Seva Global equips organizations with the cultural confidence they need to thrive in any market, to increase employee engagement, enhance customer experience, and drive bottom-line results. Visit them at seva-global.com. This season is brought to you by Kamal Bhansali in loving memory of late retired Commodore Vijay Kumar Bhansali, who served as India's naval attaché to the United States and Canada, dedicated to building collaboration between these nations. Hi, Jasmeet. Welcome to the show. It's such an honor to have you here.
Thank you, Vidhi, for having me. Really appreciate that.
So, Jasmeet, we've known each other for a few months now, and it's been amazing to learn about the many community initiatives that you've been involved with. And it was very special to see you get recognized for your efforts with your nonprofit in helping women in tech by both the Crittenden Society of Washington, D.C., as well as at the Women's Day celebration by the Annasudha Community Kitchen. So congratulations on both fronts.
Thank you.
And can't wait to dig into. There's so many topics we're going to be talking about today. To dive in, let's start from the beginning.
Hmm.
So you've had a very interesting background, interesting career trajectory. So you started with microbiology, then you did some work with embryonic stem
Stem
cell
cell.
research,
Yeah.
and then you pivoted to IT and cybersecurity, right? Very different. So walk us through that transition. What made you go from research to a vastly different career path here?
So my career journey, I started, my education is in microbiology, and I worked with embryonic stem cells. I did research, R&D, product development, and the product I worked on is still live, and they're making, and it's still on the market. So it makes me feel so proud about it.
Oh wow.
And then I did pivot to IT and cybersecurity. And I think the reason behind that pivot was when I was in research, some people would say, "Oh, you are a master's and you're doing embryonic stem cell research. How much do you guys make?" Right.
Hmm.
And that would somehow really bother me sometimes because IT jobs are quite different. That trajectory is very different from in science. In my group at my stem cell work, we were like, there were PhDs, postdocs, and still there was like a long way to grow in research. But I think IT was very fast, very in developing, and there was so much need. And then I thought, why not give it a try and see? Because science teaches you to research, to learn, look at the process, rethink about the process. And I believe IT is very much around that. The SDLC life cycle, how do you enhance the development, the product design? And I think it very much relates. So when I transitioned to IT, I obviously it was a learning curve for me, many new things, but I actually enjoyed the process, and I felt somehow I felt it's very close to immunology, which used to be my favorite subject because
Hmm.
everything has a process, it's linked, there's a reason behind it, and I believe IT, product development, design, product delivery is very similar to that. And now looking into cybersecurity, that research background really
Hmm.
helped me think about the threat vectors, how to protect the product, compliance, what it relates to, what all to look for. So I feel that science background gave me a base, a foundation to think, reason, and have a logic behind what I do. So it really just enhanced my career stream, I feel like.
Love it. I love that your reframing of, because most people, when they're considering a career change like that, they're worried about how am I going to get into this? How do I start? Where do I begin? And you already had the mindset of these are the n number of skills I can transfer to my new career. Like what's transferable? Mm.
Yeah.
So what was so hard, or what was the hardest part of actually making this transition for you?
The hardest part was actually believing in myself that I can do it. I still remember my first day at one of the companies that I worked, and it was a cybersecurity position. And end of the day, I actually called my friend. Hey, is it the right thing I'm doing? Can I do it? Like I was questioning myself, even though they loved what I had done and they hired me. Still, because there's so many new things that I need to learn, absorb, and then deliver. Right. So that
Mm.
question was always there. And I think now career has become something that's not very like in line to know, okay, there are not no steps. You need to pivot, you need to learn new things, you need to be flexible, and you need to take up challenge. And I think that's what has really helped me because yeah, many times I didn't know, but I went with the flow. I learned, I participated, I did my research, I asked questions and then did my homework. And yeah, it's always been trying a new opportunity and then enhancing my skills on the back end. That
Mhm.
really helps me. And then, I have always valued my mentors. And I think having a mentor in life really, really helps on navigating what's next for me.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And having made the biggest pivot of my career recently with starting this podcast because I come from a tech marketing background and I still have that going on the side, but also to start this podcast, which is very new. You're right. The biggest, I think, hurdle I had to get over was that imposter syndrome that you're talking about.
You have to just believe in yourself and just say, like, okay, I'll give it 6 months and do my best and see where it takes me.
Right,
Right?
right.
And then you are not just like educating yourself, you are talking to people, you are networking, you're going to a conference and you see. And I think that was one of the a big moment for me when I was at a conference in Tyson's. It was a cybersecurity conference, and there was a panel, and the speakers in the panel were actually talking about how to transition to cybersecurity. And pretty much almost all of them didn't really have education in cyber, but they
Sure.
learned through journey. Some were from the media, journalism background. Somebody was from marketing, and now
Mhm.
they are leading their corporations for cybersecurity. Because and that's what then actually that made me realize, oh, my journey is not that unique. This is very
Yeah.
normal. But the majority of us, we don't look at the other side because we don't make a choice to go into those rooms and listen to people, panel, conferences. And I think that is the inspiration behind, for me also to challenge myself, look for other opportunities, network and learn new things and new
Mhm.
skills.
Uh, for someone who's feeling encouraged, wants to consider a career or switch into cyber, what would you say are like maybe the three skills? Like if you've got these, you've got it. You can get into cyber.
I wish there was like this top three, but I think everyone's journey is unique and everyone's strength is very different, right? Some people might like coding and they might want to go into that direction. Somebody wants to, go into learn ethical hacking, right? But some people who don't like coding, I think they can still get into cybersecurity through compliance and other other opportunities that are out there. And I think you
Mhm.
really have to build yourself through certifications, through learning, going to meetups, talking to people who are out there networking, because getting your first job in
Mhm.
cyber obviously will not be easy, but what you bring in to the team, because sometimes it's not just the role, but there are many other things that companies want you to excel in, right? I think that's what happened for me because I was more into product on the process design. And when I transitioned to cybersecurity, they were looking for someone who could help them with the process design. And they were willing to mentor the person for cybersecurity skills.
Mm.
And, luckily I had done certifications for cybersecurity. I had other things lined up and I learned tools. I paid out of my pocket to get certified, learn some tools. If you want to get in, nobody can stop you. And also this is life, right? I mean, if you want to achieve something, it's only you who's limiting yourself. There's nobody else. You can achieve and do anything you want as long as you build that faith, have the steps defined, and keep working through it.
100% agree. I think we are our biggest critics and our biggest impediment, right, into getting into something new. And so we just need to get out of our own way. That makes a lot of
Absolutely.
sense. And so you not only got into cyber yourself, but you also started a nonprofit to help others to get into it, like through these certifications and stuff that you mentioned. So yeah, tell us more about that.
Yes. During COVID time, as life wasn't easy for many of us, I had my own challenges and things that I was dealing with. And my mentor was very supportive. She was one resilient, strong person I've ever come across in my life. Even though she had her own struggles, challenges, even through her health issues and other things, she was always there to listen, to guide, to mentor. And I think that really helped me look at a different mindset, right? Because we all have our challenges and things in life that pull us down. But still, if we can gain strength to guide and mentor someone else, I believe it really gives you the courage and support from the universe to move ahead in what you believe in. And Melanie was such a big support to me. And unfortunately, we lost her, and it really took a toll on me because like she is someone who I'll always look up to, and learning so much resilience, strength, and that the desire to help, right? And that's when I published the book Code Her Rising, which talks about growth, growing yourself in technology, right? You should not limit yourself. And the book talks about resources on how you can look for different opportunities, what's out there, what skill set helps you grow. And there is like at the end of each chapter, there are to do things where you can actually reflect on what you read and how it connects with your journey. And the book was definitely loved by many. And that kind of inspired me. Why don't I just create a nonprofit which is actually doing what I believe in and what my book talks about? So that's where I started this nonprofit Code Her Rising, because I believe, regardless of the age, we all have some limiting beliefs. And when we go out and learn and listen to other people's story, it helps us rethink about our own story. So yes, we need to develop skills, and that's where the certification programs come in. That's where the training programs come in. And then we have mentorship programs where we help in resume building and interview preparations for our members, and eventually, help them network and believe and move through their journey. And it's amazing, when I think the best part or the rewarding part is when, when women or other members are able to achieve the certifications, they are able to find an opportunity, and they reflect, how our nonprofit really helped them. And it all starts from that belief of, you know, can I do it? Is it okay? Oh, I don't have that background. And when you hear someone say yes, yes, and yes, it definitely makes them rethink, and then giving that few couple of months to their own story and build and learn and then continue from there.
First of all, sorry to hear about your mentor passing. This is, I have to say, such a beautiful way to honor her legacy through your book, through the nonprofit. And you've brought this up a few times. I think it's great that you're providing the education needed, the certifications, the networking. And it seems like the biggest hurdle is still that imposter syndrome, right? How do you get over your own limited beliefs about yourself? And so when you and your organization mentor these people who are coming to you, how do you help them get over that? That's such a hard mind shift to make.
I believe more than words is when you if you see other examples out there, you meet other people who have been there, done that, it really helps rethinking about where you are and what you believe in, right? I have so many examples. Like I have women who have even like degree, they've done their education in IT, but still because of the family situation or having kids, they took like a break for a couple of years, and now they are so scared to go back into job market. And I think the biggest fear is, I had a break, and will people, accept me, or I forgot. But there's other way of looking at the same situation, right? Yes, you were taking care of kids, but now it's, if you want to go back, what is needed? Let's just focus on what's needed, right? I mean, maybe brushing up some certifications, going out networking, finding a mentor, maybe helping other organizations or give a talk, right? There are so many meetups, there's so many conferences, so many things happening. It's just that we limit ourselves by not being part of that. And I think once you go out there, you see other people networking, you learn, you create connections, and maybe if someone is looking for an entry level person to join their organization, and if you have met them and you have shown how committed you are to growing yourself and you have the foundation, you might be the one they would hire. So it's just that you have to change that mindset of, oh my God, what will happen to, yeah, let me try and let me go out there. Let me, brush up my skills and give it a try.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I hope folks are encouraged by this. And, yeah, all I'd add is just take the leap.
Yes.
What's the worst that can happen, right? Give it a
Yeah.
try, like you're saying, for 6 months. Um, it's so the who I guess who can participate in your programs? Is there a specific target audience you have for your nonprofit?
We definitely help mentor women a lot, and we believe, a lot of us are going through things, and that's the reason, we only are about 20 to 22% in IT and technology, and pretty much in cybersecurity. So we do target, but our training programs are open to all. And in
Mm.
addition, we also work with senior citizens. Me being part of some of the organization in the county, I feel the seniors, they need to be, sometimes they are looking for some help on technology side, right? Because they are more on the paperwork, paper stuff, and now
Mhm.
everything is online, and there are so many scams out there. They are the vulnerable population because first they're not aware of many things, they're scared to ask questions, but that's okay. And I think that's one of the things that my organization also do. We do fraud protection, scam education, training programs for seniors, so it can really help them to look for the red flags when they're online. And I always bring it up. Just last year, $7.7 billion was scammed through seniors, 60 years and
Wow.
above. Like, this is like not a small number. And yeah, this is reported by FBI. And this is only from from people who have actually reported. I'm sure there's many other people who haven't even reported because they are scared to talk about it. Right. So I think we also try to organize training sessions, information sessions for seniors to get that information and be able to ask questions.
Wow. That stat has me, I'm sure, it does a lot of our listeners very worried because we all have our parents, senior
Yes.
citizens, and we've seen them struggle, right? Like technology, like you're saying, is hard enough, even just to operate on their phone. Now
Yeah.
you add to that these increasingly sophisticated cyber attacks. And I can see it like it. Hope it's almost coming, right? Because you see them clicking on random videos, you see them
Yeah.
believing things that are now created by
Bills.
AI.
Yeah.
And so for this population, when you work with them, what are like maybe some very, maybe three things you tell them not to do just to protect themselves a little better?
Uh, I think we try to educate them on what is phishing, what kind of emails not to click on, what are the links. There's so many text messages that we need to help them understand this is from a random source. Do not click the links. If somebody's calling you, I think there is this, when most of the scammers, if they're calling you, they'll try to create, or even messages or emails, they'll try to create this emergency panic situation, like, oh, you
Mhm.
have to respond now, or you have to make that money transaction right now, otherwise you'll lose everything, right? So and they're scared to ask questions and they don't know who to reach out to at that very moment. I think we just tell them to not get into that panic mode, right? Because when you are panicked, you'll not make the right choices. So we try to help them understand that don't panic, think through, hang up, ask questions, and maybe ask for a callback number.
Mhm.
And if this is an email, look for what are the things or the red flags for a phishing email, where the email address is coming from, what are they asking you to do, and do you even have an account with them? Pause and rethink is a key for them to understand that not everything is urgent, nothing is going to happen.
My gosh. Yeah, I'm definitely taking this to all my senior relatives. And that actually, this scenario happened to someone in my network. There was, the grandparent got a call from their grandson, supposedly, saying
Yeah.
he's stranded in a country somewhere, needs money immediately, don't hang up. And that's the thing, they'll tell you not to hang up. And I think that's the key, is to recognize if they're trying to create a sense of urgency, hang
Yeah.
up, call them
Yes.
back, right?
Yeah. Call
Check
them.
back
Call
with
them.
them.
Exactly.
That, I think that's much needed work. So I'm so glad you're doing that for them. So you mentioned for women trying to get back into work, it's hard, right? Because of all these reasons, or you don't feel like you have the certification. And now there's a new challenge, which is making everyone's job potentially obsolete, right? So it's AI. And so how are you helping them get over that added concern about like how do I get into this and keep up with AI now?
Yeah, AI is something that's, I believe it's actually good in a way because it's going to make things easier. But I think on being on the job market, you really need to enhance your skills. You need to learn. It's like a new thing that you really have to learn. You cannot just stand on the side and say, okay, I will see if it, affects me, but it's going to impact you eventually, right? So it's
Mhm.
better to be prepared. So through Code Horizon, we have started offering a lot of AI workshops, some programs. We just did one a couple of weeks back. We are planning again for
Mm.
small businesses, which can really help them, in their marketing, product design, development, end to end, right? So we do provide those kind of training programs for even young professionals or people who don't really have that IT skill, but through
Mm.
vibe coding, they can actually design website, they can design their app and work through those. A lot of companies would be looking for people who have a background in AI, who understand AI, who understand how to use it, how to leverage it, what are the key things to look for, even on the cybersecurity side, right? How this AI is going to impact, what is the data privacy, what are the things to look for. Any profession is not something that you have just learned in college. You have to keep enhancing your skills. And now it's AI and just accept and, grow with it.
Makes sense. So that it's, the starting effort or cost is not that high. There are many tools you can play with. You can try fast, fail fast. So yes, it's making life easy in some ways, but it's probably also making life very difficult for you as a cyber professional. What are you seeing as emerging threats or new flavors of cyber attacks with AI coming out?
Yeah, definitely. There is a lot of work to be done. And I feel like that's where a lot of cybersecurity professionals are getting trained, educated in AI, governance, compliance. And I do see there are going to be a lot more opportunities and people who have certification programs or they have trainings in the AI, understanding AI and looking into the governance, compliance, ethics, cybersecurity policies, and risk management, and data privacy. So learning all those things is definitely going to help to strengthen your skill as a cybersecurity professional because now you need to think in a different way of how AI is going to be using the information,
Mhm.
what controls need to be in place, who is monitoring those controls, those regulations, right? So definitely this is something that's growing, evolving, and we need to enhance our skills through learning programs.
Yeah, I spent the most recent part of my career in the whole governance, risk, and compliance space. And
Yes,
so makes a lot of sense. Cyber professional, security professionals not only have to look at the new threats coming up, but it's also for the AI tools that their organizations are using. How do you put that AI governance in place?
yes.
Right. That's a big challenge as well. And an opportunity to learn and to bring that skill set in. Absolutely. So you're also a cyber mom, a tech mom. I'd love to get into with these discussions of AI. And I believe you have one kid who's in college or about to go to college.
Yeah, I have my elder one in college, first year. He just completed his first year, and the younger one is going to be a senior this year.
Oh, wow. So I'm very curious. What are you telling them to focus on?
I think as a parent, you really cannot tell them what to do.
Of
But
course.
the key things I always tell them is have a mentor, go to a conference. Literally, I think every other week or a couple of weeks, I'm giving that reminder, especially to the one in college, that look for a conference. If you're a student, use your student ID and register. Volunteer for a conference because that way you get a free pass to attend, to
Mhm.
network, and to. And I think I was talking to someone recently. He had just graduated from UMD, and I was telling him, would go to a conference and be at the panel discussions because those panel discussions don't only talk about the topic or the technical part of it. Sometimes people do bring out their journeys, and I think that's important for the kids to really realize that nothing should be limiting for them to try something new. Right? They have to be flexible, learn to pivot, learn to try out different things. And I think good part is now I think there is so much out there for them. just to filter out is also important, because sometimes it's like too much for them to look into, explore. So maybe figure out your top 2 or 3 priorities, things that you think you're passionate about, and give it a try. And you should not have just one mentor, right? I mean, always have a couple of them and try to touch base with them every other month or so. And, it's just like 15-20 minutes of their time. But I think these kids are a bit hesitant, I believe, in approaching. And I think that is very important, to go out, learn, listen, communicate, network. Because whatever you do your education, and you'll always need those connections, finding a job, learning some next level thing, or finding an opportunity to even participate in a competition, or even like finding a new role.
Makes a lot of sense. And so, Jasmeet, you were doing a lot when your kids were little. That was a time when you were also potentially pivoting into the IT career. You were starting a nonprofit. How did you do it all? How did you balance it all?
I think I give my kids a lot of credit for what I have achieved in life. Literally, they are my team, they are my strength. They've been my critics. And I'll just give you an example. 7 years back or so, when I joined Toastmasters, I would always participate, and in the talks and competitions, and each and every speech after writing it, I would have my son review it. Look for correct my grammar. Right, when they see you grow, they you're actually also mentoring them in a way, right? I mean, they are there to help and listen. And I think somebody told me, right, your kids are always watching you subconsciously,
Mm.
right? So, and we all go through failures. We all go through things in life. And that's what life is about, right? Life is not about just looking at your struggles, but how you face them. What how it actually inspired you to do something else, right? Like when I took a break from Toastmaster, I remember my daughter was like, "Mom, why you left it?" Yeah, you were so happy when you were doing that. You should go back to that. And if I have a conference, and I'll be like thinking, "Oh my God, should I go? Oh, I'll have to leave you." And they're like, "Mom, it's only 2 days. Nothing is going to happen." Yeah, and then when I come back, I share. That's one thing. I always share everything. Like, oh, I met this person, that person, this person has achieved this much, and this is the journey. I think it just helps them also see not just their mom's story, but other people who are out there who have done so much, right? Yeah,
Yeah. And you've been a great, like you said, role model to them to show that learning doesn't stop, right?
I
Even when
hope
they grow
so.
up. That's an important message and to internalize. And yeah, I think for the most part, they're more resilient and independent than we think and give them credit for. And I'm sure hearing that from them, to them telling you, that it's okay to go for a conference and encouraging you, that probably does a lot to get rid of the guilt, right? The mom guilt is what you
Yes,
really
yeah,
deal with most of the time.
definitely. It has really helped me in that. Yeah.
I love that theme. Make them a part of what you're learning, and then, it's empowering for them to also feel like they can mentor you, and they've helped you in some way, and so that's a
Yeah.
great learning experience. Beautiful. Well, thank you for sharing. So, Jasmeet, we're gonna now pump things up a bit. We're gonna get into a rapid fire round. Are you
Okay.
ready for this?
Sure.
Let's see. All right. Question number one: what's a book, show, or movie that actually changed how you think, and why that one specifically?
So I would say there are two. One is Brave Not Perfect by Reshma Sojini, and The
Mhm.
Power of Vulnerability by Brene Brown. I feel both the books have really made a huge impact in my life. If you share your vulnerability, your stories with someone, I think you build a deeper connection. We all have challenges and things, but highlighting that and learning from that and taking your next step is the biggest strength. So shifting yourself from that victim mindset
Mhm.
to a mindset where you now want to help people who are in a similar situation. And I think Power of Vulnerability talks a lot about, accepting where you are, what you are going through, and then building a deeper connection, how it really helps you connecting. And Brave Not Perfect, I mean, that's beautiful because it talks to also the younger generation, and I think also how I was raised. And I was so protected in a shell, but life is not like that, right? We I think just teaching our kids, the younger generation, to lead, accept failures. Failures don't define you, and brush it off and keep going. Try something else. Move on to your next, whatever you want to work on, right? So find that next thing and don't try to be brave. And nobody's perfect.
Right. So you've taught cybersecurity to students from 18 to 80. What is the one thing you've learned from our seniors that maybe the younger generation can learn from them, or the other way around?
Seniors definitely have taught a lot to me, and I would say just they remind us that success is not always a very instant goal, right, that you achieve in life, but it's a process. It builds with relationship, learn to pivot and keep going. I think those are a few things that have really helped me also to learn from them.
A Bollywood movie or song or a South Asian film show that resonates with your journey?
I'd listen to this song a lot, and this movie I love. It's called Bhag Milkha Bhag.
Yeah.
I love that story because it talks about resilience, the discipline that person puts in what he wants to achieve, the pain that Milkha Singh has gone through in his life, his upbringing, and all those challenges, situations. But he kept his focus on what he wants to achieve.
Yeah. Having that purpose
Yeah,
guides you, and then everything else falls in place.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What does leaning in mean to you personally? And when was a time when you had to do this, even when you were scared?
Uh, I've done this gazillion times.
I think that's your whole life story, right?
Exactly. And yeah, I think leaning in really means, trying and showing up and making an effort, even though you feel scared, afraid, and uncertain of what's going to happen next. Yes, I think starting from my very first Toastmaster speech to my journey, my, trying different things in life, and I think what really has helped me is, show up, accept the challenge. That one situation, one failure sometimes pulls a person so low that they don't know what to do, how to even um, work through that situation or think about it, right? So you really have to keep it light and learn and move on. And things work, don't work, you accept it, you learn from there and grow from there.
Yeah. And the only way to get used to it is to have more of that, right? The first few times is going to hurt, and then you build your resilience, and then you just keep going. And then it's liberating because then you're
Yeah.
not afraid of failure anymore.
And people
Love it. And
recognize that nobody's judging you. I mean, if like, because yeah, I know if somebody is really judging you, maybe they are not there yet. Because
yeah.
people who have achieved in life, they also acknowledge the struggles, challenges, and they can see the effort you're making.
In the 3 months I've known you, this has come through loud and clear, the way you operate. So I believe you. Well, thank you for participating. That was fun. Lots of great nuggets there. So to wrap up, Jasmeet, I'd love to know, you already have accomplished so much. You have a lot going on right now. What's next? What are next 2 to 5 years looking like for you?
Oh, I have big goals. I, yeah, I actually, want to build this positive community. I think that is the goal I want to have in my mind now because I see I've connected with so many stories, so many people who have inspired me, and you know, what's the one thing that I've learned is learn to pivot, grow, and focus on your strength. People don't know how to think through their situation, right? When you are stuck in that victim mindset for so long, it only pulls you down. So learning to to come out of that situation and trying to build a strength, resources to help others who are in a similar situation, right, would really help build a better community. So I think my bigger goal is to work through that, create a positive, supportive environment. And that's what we want to give the younger generation too. We want to teach them because, I mean, for our, we have seen so much, but for them with AI, we don't even know where it's going to take them. So just creating that positive environment is going to be my big thing to keep working on. And that's where my app comes in, which is going to be about mental health and how to navigate through resources.
Love it. And it's, to your point, it's going to be needed even more now,
Yeah.
with just all the disruptions we're facing, especially the youth are facing with AI and with just a lot of things going on geopolitically and what have you. So I hope wish you all the best with this new endeavor. Can't wait to see what comes out. And and just meet for those who are very intrigued by Code Her Rising. What's the best way for folks to get in touch with you?
I welcome everyone to go to our website, be a member. Feel free to send a note, email, and we have our board members, and there's an information page. Reach out, ask for help, and we always post our events and training sessions on the website and the event tab. Look through, and if you want to collaborate, feel free to connect directly to us through my email address and information on the website.
Thank you for that. And we'll definitely link it in the show notes as well. So be on the lookout. But Jasmeet, thank you so much for being here with us, for sharing all your golden nuggets, your wisdom, and wish you all the best with your future endeavors.
Thank you, Vidhi. It was a pleasure being here and also inspired by your journey. I mean, you bring in so much, and you are like making a big impact in this environment in the society. So good luck to you, and
Thank you.
definitely we'll share that community together.
Absolutely. Thank you. It's been a fun learning journey.
Thank you. Bye.